An improvement league. Where do you want to improve? Where do you hope to improve here as you head into your third NFL season?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Just coming out here, I was all like fired up and everything like that. And D'Amico pulled me to the side and was like, now it's just fine-tuning those little things of your game. Like, how precise can you be? How good can you be? And taking the next step. And for me, it's just like when I'm on a block, using my hands better, getting off blocks, my escape when I'm rushing the passer. Like, am I reaching with position on the quarterback? Can I get some strip sacks, stuff like that? So like, those are the things I want to work on this offseason. This time doing OTAs and really just getting precise at those.
Hi, this is Aaron Wilson. Today's topic, the Texans pass rush tandem, the dynamic tandem of Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. For my money, the best in the NFL. But let's debate this because there are some differing opinions. There's a lot of great tandems in the league. And, you look at the Steelers, you look at the Minnesota Vikings, and you look at the Texans. But yeah, I want to make my argument, my case for why I believe Anderson and Hunter, best in the business. So let's start with Danielle Hunter. And one of the points that I thought he made, he wasn't really asked to debate in terms of compare and contrast with TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith, and they throw in Nate Herbig. I think that's one of the reasons why some people have the Steelers ranked first. But to me, it's about tandem to duos, not three guys, and you start getting into talk like that, then am I supposed to start mentioning, what about the Texans? What about Darrell Taylor? What about Derek Barnett? What about Danico Autry? What about all these other guys? What do they line up? All those things that come into play. But yeah, in terms of Danielle, and we had this conversation with him, talking about the chemistry in just the first year where they were this bookend tandem. So it can get even better. They know how each other rushes. They know a lot about how to really counter move based on where the other might be lined up. And they have great chemistry, as Danielle says. I agree with him. And you look at a prime example of a play and the way it's supposed to work. They're playing against an elusive quarterback, but he wasn't elusive against the Texans. And that was Caleb Williams, the Bears' rookie quarterback and top overall pick. So they basically held a team meeting where they were both converging and smashing into Williams at NRG Stadium in an early season win last year. And Hunter spilled the play right to Anderson, and either one of them could have sacked him, but they teamed up for that sack. And I thought that was just really a great example. It's emblematic of what they did to offenses all year round. Look at the Chargers game. Look how they did against Rashawn Slater and Joe Alt. Look at all the trouble that Justin Herbert had in that contest. So when you have these two guys, whether it's coming off a 2-point stance or 3-point stance, it's like they're shot out of a cannon. They are great athletes, especially Danielle Hunter, one of the most athletic players, regardless of position in the NFL. And he's got the patented Euro step move. He's got a great spin, jab step, and he can go speed to power. He can speed rush. He can do a lot of things. He closes ground fast. Look at the Dallas Cowboys game. Look at some of the plays. Look at some of the plays over my shoulder. This is mostly Will Anderson Jr. highlights. You might be able to see it. I was watching some tape, doing my homework before. They say, who says sports reporters don't watch tape? I watch tape. I watch some plays. I like to watch them again and again. I usually learn something. Takes me back to my old football days. And I was a invited walk-on at East Carolina University in my all-conference days back at St. John's High School in Washington, D.C. But I digress. Back on topic. This is a formidable pass rushing tandem. Anderson, rare combination size, speed, relentlessness. His pass rush repertoire is expanding. And you look at him, he's a former NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. Hunter has been to the Pro Bowl multiple times. Former track and football standout at Morton Ranch High School. They're paying him a total of $55.1 million over this year and next, with $54.1 million of it guaranteed. You think they give that kind of contract to just anybody? No. You got to earn it. And Danielle Hunter more than earned that contract. He's outstanding in every sense of the word, on, off the field. So just a really talented bunch. And this was, to me, looking at what they did, they set this franchise record. They had 49 sacks, 12 sacks for Danielle Hunter, 11 sacks for Anderson. They were 5th in defensive EPA, second in pass rush success rate. Anderson had 8.5 of the sacks on third down. So remember, he missed some time with an ankle injury, and he still went off last season. He was second in the NFL in quarterback pressures, Danielle was, fifth in the NFL in sacks, just dominant moves. And you look at all the things that they did, a little bit different personalities. Anderson, all enthusiasm and smiles. Hunter, intense, quiet, friendly, but definitely wears his game face. And he's been disruptive all year last season. 46 tackles, 15 for losses, 23 quarterback hits. He's now up to 99.5 career sacks, 125 tackles for losses, and 157 quarterback hits. Former LSU star, just outstanding athlete. Never really gets out of shape. He's always, looks sort of sculpted. He's yoked. He's jacked, whatever description you want to have for his musculature. But he's not just about physique. This isn't a bodybuilding contest. It's about what he does functionally with his muscles. And he is a flexible, explosive, dynamic athlete. And you look at Anderson. Anderson's, a little bit built lower to the ground, a couple inches shorter than Danielle, but he's got a lot of power. And he's working on finishing his moves to get even better and to have a higher sack rate. There were some sacks, as he said, left out on the field this past season. So interesting, to talk to these guys. And as Danielle said, and I agree with him, the defensive line, which is one of the strengths of this team, they call themselves the engine. As he says, you got a car and the car doesn't move without the engine. They take a lot of pride as the defensive line as the engine of the defense. So yeah, I like that analogy. Definitely heart and soul, and those guys have a lot of fun playing for Rod Wright and now Frank Ocamp. So a great group. And you look at the rankings. So since we're talking about rankings, let's get into it about where others have them ranked. So Pro Football Focus recently ranked TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Nick Herbig as the best pass rushing tandem. Between Watt and Highsmith, yes, higher Pro Football Focus grades, but that's a bit subjective. I'm going off more the production, all the quarterback hits, all the dynamic plays, the big plays that they make. They make some big plays in Pittsburgh too. But to me, it feels like Watt is starting to slow down, whereas these guys, I know Anderson, he's getting close to his peak, and Hunter, to me, hasn't lost anything at all. It was a great tandem last year with Jonathan Grenard, the former Texan, and Andrew Van Ginkel from the Miami Dolphins. They were both great free agent acquisitions. Outstanding moves by Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah with his free agency moves. And Grenard was a formidable pass rusher, but no one here felt like Grenard, he's better than Will Anderson or Danielle Hunter. So essentially a swap. Hunter leaves the Vikings for more money than Grenard got, and I have utmost respect for Jonathan Grenard. This is no knock on Jonathan Grenard. I'm just saying I think Hunter's a little bit better. That's just my opinion, subjectively. And then fourth, and this is such a projection, you're talking about Brian Burns. Brian Burns is outstanding. But we don't know what Abdul Carter will be like as a rookie. We don't know if he's going to have a Micah Parsons kind of rookie season. And then they had Jalen Phillips, Chop Robinson, Bradley Chubb. Again, ranking 3. I don't like that. Rank the top 2 guys. You can factor in the third, but that's if you want to talk about best defensive lines or best. We're talking about tandems. And then it was the Ravens, and it's a good duo, but to me it's in the very good, not the great category. Odafe Owe and Kyle Vanoy. So those are good players. A lot of respect for them. But to me, Anderson, Hunter is better. And people say, Aaron, you're a homer, those guys. I mean, I have absolutely no one telling me to say this. I am thinking of a topic here on a summer night after minicamp, after dinner with my wife, and I was thinking football, and I wanted to make a new video for you guys because I know you guys like to watch stuff. And so this is my opinion. And I say the reasons why they're the best, go through the plays. Don't just go off the stats. Go off of the things that Danielle can do. Go off the aggressiveness of Anderson, the controlled aggression. Think about those things, not just, who had the higher Pro Football Focus grade. I respect Pro Football Focus. I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying that I believe that what they did is more impactful and that they are a better and more talented tandem than TJ and Alex Highsmith. Has Highsmith been an NFL Defensive Player of the Year conversation? No. TJ Watt has. He's done that. He's won that. But why couldn't Danielle Hunter or Will Anderson Jr. do that? They could. And I think the 24 sacks they combined for last year could be even higher. Could be a better season for them overall. And you look at what they did last year, and it was great. It was absolutely outstanding. But I don't think they're just only scratching the surface. I think it can get better. So you look at, getting that kind of pass rush tandem together, I think it's awfully strong. So they, to me, when you look at what they had, my bad, 23 sacks, sorry. 12 sacks for Danielle, 11 for Anderson. But look at certain games. Look at the Bears game. Look at the Cowboys game. Look at some of the things that they've done. Look how Anderson performed against Drake May with a hat trick, 3 sacks, which has not happened a lot in NFL history. So you look at everything that Danielle does, that Will does, and it's just very, very darn impressive. And to me, I've seen some other rankings, and I just really couldn't get in tune with this. How can you rank Abdul Carter and Brian Burns number 1 before Abdul plays in an actual NFL game? He got blocked pretty effectively by the Texans rookie tackle Ariante Ursary, who was not drafted in the first round. He was drafted in the second round. And the Big Ten Offensive Lineman of the Year shut down Carter. He wasn't the only guy to do that. And this isn't to knock what Carter can do, but Burns only had 8.5 sacks. That he didn't even have double figures. So the guy that really impresses me on that defense is just as much as Burns is Dexter Lawrence. Excellent nose tackle. I mean, anybody would love to have him. But looking at what happened with the Vikings, it was close statistically to the Texans. They had a half sack more. So Van Ginkel, 11.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. Definitely better in pass coverage. He had 2 touchdowns, and he is a versatile player, and he is all-out hustle all the time. Jonathan Gennard, 12 sacks, 4 forced fumbles. Great nose for the football. Brian Flores really deploys them really well. And I think what he did in his first season, he proved a point. He certainly proved it to the Texans. I talked to him on the sideline before that game. You think it was personal? Big time, personal. He felt like they were disrespectful to him in terms of not making a legitimate formal offer. He felt lowballed. I think they were trying not to insult him because they'd already made plans to move on. I don't think they used that close to the coaching staff. I think it was just something where it made sense for Jonathan Gennard to leave. Okay, so they're ranking them just ahead of the Texans in this one ranking called the Football Analysis. So I don't know about that. I just think the Texans are better, slightly better than Van Ginkel and Grenard. And overall, just a better defense. A defensive tandem that they should be talking about, but haven't talked as much about, is having Nick Bonito and Zach Allen. Bonito, 13.5 sacks, and then Zach Allen. So 13.5 sacks for Bonito, who's going to get a monster contract one day, and Zach Allen, 8.5 sacks. So absolutely great duo, really strong group. And then people talk about Micah Parsons. He had 12 sacks. And again, it's a rookie projection of Donovan Ezeruaku, their second-round pick from Boston College, the Hendricks Award winner, best defensive end in the country, 16.5 sacks, 20.5 tackles for losses. I just don't like to project rookies and how they're going to have this giant impact until they've really played an NFL game. You just got to see. And then you look at the Eagles. Yes, they drafted Jahad Campbell. And again, this is another one about Nolan Smith, and they're talking about, a rookie tandem. The Rams, Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, outstanding, but Fisk a lot of times is inside. And so that's the difference. Or Greg Rousseau and Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa is a declining player because of health. Rousseau, still a very strong player. I like the Niners group, but again, it's a rookie, Michael Williams, who I think will be good, and Nick Bosa is one of the best. And then another one that people are talking about is James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker. They're rookies. Falcons had a terrible pass rush last year. So, yeah, a lot of re-rankings after the NFL draft. I get it. It gets buzz. That's what people do. But to me, I would rank it like this. I would go with the Texans, and then, because I think TJ Watt's is just special, I go with the Steelers second and the Vikings third. So that's my ranking, the Aaron rankings, Aaron Wilson, for the pass rush tandem. I'm going to get into more about the training camp schedule in a separate video. As you guys know, we're going to West Virginia. I kind of hinted that we were going camping. I just couldn't say anything until they wanted to officially release that. But yes, we're going to West Virginia. We're going to the Greenbrier. I've already booked all of my travel for the season, so I will be at everything. And guys, you will have more training camp videos than you know what to do with. There's going to be a lot of videos. There's going to be a lot of articles, and it's going to be at Aaron Wilson _NFL on X, at www.click2Houston, television with Randy McElvoy and R. Alexander at KPRC2, and of course here with you guys. And yeah, please tune in. We're starting the lives. The last live went smoother because I've added some things. The Ring camera. I've got a remote control clicker now. I can do a few things. I'm definitely trying to improve on the technology. I'm not there yet on like sharing screens. Some of those guys do that stuff. That's all great. This is my share screen. I'm showing you a loop of some plays behind me. But that said, you know, most of what you guys want is information. Not a lot of breaking news this week. I did have some conversations. There was a separate video. I encourage you to check it out. You know, you want to know about Damon Arnett Jr.? Well, those folks know him. And they, you know, Daryl Johnston dug deep into his off-field issues before he let him play in the UFL. And he said the Texans did a lot of work. And the San Francisco 49ers, John Lynch, wasn't like the Texans were the only team that wanted him. They were into it. And the Green Bay Packers, his former defense coordinator at Ohio State, was looking into Jeff Hafley. So they didn't make a formal offer. But yeah, they were checking into this. So there are other teams that were looking at Damon Arnett. The Texans were aggressive, moved fast, and it might not be all at the corner position. A little tease there, a little hint. Maybe something else will happen at corner. So, you know, we'll see. Not Rasul Douglas, though. Different corner who I haven't named before. But yeah, that's what I've got so far, guys. And definitely I'll probably do another video kind of combining some things, some news and notes about the training camp and a little bit of my conversation with Pastor that met with the Texans, and then has had CJ Stroud interact with him, and him and his mom Kimberly. They have donated to send some kids to a church camp in Waxahachie up in North Texas. So good on CJ, pretty cool stuff. And we have some football camps this weekend. We're gonna have some coverage with that. I've got some family stuff as well, so a little bit busy. And yeah, we're getting closer to training camp. 22nd of July is the reporting date. 23rd, practice. And you guys will be out there before you know it with the 7 open practices that the fans can go on. They sold out fast in that category. And then I'll be on Sunday, Sports Sunday, with Randy McElvoy. And we're going to talk offensive line. We're going to talk about the Greenbrier. First time they've been there since 2018. I was there for both of the previous Greenbrier trips. And I'm going back to West Virginia. Take me home. Mountain Road, all that good stuff. And yeah, that might make its way into a video of mine or something. We'll see. Maybe we'll play that song at least once. I don't know. I don't know if I can do it every day, but of course we'll be in Detroit and Minnesota and at the Rams, and they're on and they're on. So yeah, guys, thank you. Appreciate you guys liking, subscribing. We are getting close to about 9,500 subscribers, so 10,000 is right in the distance, right on the horizon. So looking to get to that number, and that helps me to do more and more with the channel. Also helps me, supplement what I do at Channel 2. So I appreciate everybody that tips, likes, watches, subscribes. It is free, and of course free completely at www.click2Houston.com. No subscriptions. You just click on it and watch, and you can bookmark our page on the Texans side of the sports section. And there's always going to be updates there, and we got a couple of new articles. So please check it out. And guys, thank you, and I look forward to our next video. But there it is, my opinion. Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson Jr., king of the mountain when it comes to pass rushers. Until next time, guys, thank you.